And since you're all here and engaged in this sort of inquiry and listening to this sort of lecture, I assume that you're all on the process of waking up. Or else you're teasing yourselves with some kind of flirtation with waking up.
I am your father. I'm Batman.
I'm Spartacus!
Bond. James Bond.
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Goonies never say die! You're killing me, Smalls!
I see dead people.
That the power of Christ compels you!
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Hello, and welcome to the Cinephellas Podcast. That's right, Cinephellas, the only place where the election results would have come in faster if we would have all just voted for Pedro. For the Cinephellas, I'm Nile Fortner. On this episode of the Cinephellas Podcast, we have breakout Irish star Lola Petticrew of the new Irish comedy drama movie, Dating Amber. Dating Amber has received positive reviews, currently holding a 96% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and the film takes place in the 1990s, and it's about a closeted gay teen and his lesbian counterpart pretending to be a couple in order to avoid suspicion. In other words, they fake a relationship. But before you and I go any further, let us have a little listen to some of the trailer.
You are the only boy in the world. I'm glad I dated.
All right. You know, you can tell me anything, and I will love you no matter what.
I know.
Jesus, must be what the inside of your gay brain looks like.
Don't worry, they haven't had sex yet.
Jesus Christ.
He's only just fingered her.
On this episode of the Cinephellas Podcast, Dating Amber's Lola Petticrew discusses with me, isolating with her co-star, how this film would be different if it were actually released in the 90s, and a lot more on this podcast episode. So, if that sounds interesting to you, then let's get into it.
Your name is... It's Taserface?
That's right.
Do you shoot tasers out of your face?
It's metaphorical!
I see we have a question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe you already answered this, but why exactly are we here?
Sean?
Second Lieutenant Jake Jensen, West Point, graduate with honors. We're here because you're looking for the best of the best of the best, sir.
You're on with Lola.
Hi Lola, how are you?
Hello. Hi, lovely to speak to you.
I know, I love your accent, by the way. I could actually listen to you speak all day. And I'm glad I got to watch the movie Dating Amber because I really enjoyed it. And is it true that you were in isolation with your co-star Finn? And what was that like for the both of you?
Yeah, so Fionn and I stayed together the whole of the first lockdown. We were in London together, and we made the executive decision to go home, and we quarantined together for 3.5 months in a car in County Wicklow, and it was the most fun. I just had the best time, and Fionn was my best pal, and we got to promote the UK and Irish release of Dating Amber from there, and so we just had a great, and retired Fionn, he's my wee right on.
Nice. I never actually heard anything like that before. And you two seem to have a lot of great on-screen chemistry. So do you see yourself working with him again? And what other type of movie project do you think you could do together as a pair?
Fiona and I have actually just finished filming something together.
Okay.
It's called Wolf, and it stars George Mackay and Lily Rose Death, and we started filming that in August, and we finished it in September, and we're so delighted because it's incredibly rare that you get to work with your best friend once, and we've been lucky enough to do it twice now.
Okay, yeah. And the film really captures like the challenges that Amber and Eddie face, like the narrative around the Irish army with the ideas of like toxic masculinity, as well as the queer experience in the Catholic community in Ireland. So, what challenges are gay teenagers and young people facing in Ireland today, and how do you believe this film will help to either bring a positive change for these issues or a new perspective from viewers?
I think that, we face a lot of the same issues. I think that sometimes we like to think that we are more socially progressive than we are. It was only last year that marriage equality was passed in the north of Ireland, where I'm from. And it was only 5 years ago that it was passed in the south. And, we're talking about a film that's set 25 years ago, but, realistically, a lot of these things are still very relevant, and I think that you could set this film now in any small town anywhere in the world, and it would still be as relevant. And I just really hope that it frames sort of the coming out narrative as something that is hopeful and joyous, and sort of really shows people that, once you come out, there's a community of people there waiting to welcome you with open arms and support you.
Definitely, yeah, I know what you mean, and I totally agree with you. And, like, another thing I find to be interesting, too, with this movie is that it takes place in the 90s. So how do you think this film would differ if it was actually released in the 90s? And did you learn anything about this time period that, you probably didn't know or realize before doing this film?
I'm not sure if it would be much different if it was that now. Like you said, I think that all the themes are still something that are very much relevant. In terms of knowing things that I didn't know, I'm not really sure. I think that I grew up, my daddy he was kind of like a teenager, sort of early 20s in the 90s, and so I grew up listening to a lot of 90s music, and sort of being surrounded by that sort of culture. So I don't think anything came as too much of a shock, but it was definitely fun to get to play that era. The costumes were really exciting, and the hair. Seeing characters like Tracy and Janet with their big, bold haircuts and their makeup was something that was, really fun to go in every day and see.
Absolutely. I love 90s music. That's like my favorite era for music.
Oh, lovely.
And also, I'm sure if this movie were like produced in the US, it would have like some differences. Maybe it would even become like a parody of itself. So how do you think this movie would have played out if it were a US production? Do you think it would have been the same, like you're saying, or would there be anything different, in your opinion?
I think that, something that seems very particular to the film is the Irish sense of humour. And I think that's really special about it. And I think that, they're very good at finding comedy in the darkness and in the tragedy and sort of flipping it. And so I think that is something that's very unique to being set in Ireland.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the comedy aspect, because I heard a lot of this movie was improvised. So what scenes were improvised, and did you have to change a lot of things from the original script?
So we actually stayed very true to the script in that we didn't really cut anything. I mean, we wrote a fantastic script and we were in love with it from the moment we read it. But he's such an incredibly freeing director, and he really gives me and Fiona the opportunity to improvise and sort of play around. So, we got scenes like some of the big gay balls scenes is very improvised. A lot of the montage stuff is very improvised. They sort of just give us a lot of freedom to play within the script that he had written.
Okay, yeah, that makes it more fun in my opinion. And how similar are you to your character in real life, and what was the biggest challenge with trying to bring your character to life?
I'm similar in life to Amber. I think that my mommy would probably say that we both have quite big mouths and can be quite loud. But I think that, she's somebody that I really respect. I think that she's a very selfless person. Me and Dee have always joked that when we go off, we want to be like Amber Keenan. I sort of think that it's important that people see her and to, represent, a portion of people who maybe feel underrepresented in cinema.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. And I believe this film was also inspired by some real-life situations from the director, too. So if that's true, do you mind telling me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think you could describe it as the autobiographical and semi-wish fulfillment. A lot of it happened, and a lot of it he wished had happened. But he never really told us specifically what actually happened to him. I think, it's important that, Fionn wasn't playing Dave, he was playing Eddie, and so I think that he was really careful about, not forcing his own experience on Fionn and allowing Fionn to find Eddie. But yeah, I think he said before that a lot of the very cringy stuff is probably where the line.
Okay. And this movie brings up the term beard, which I never actually heard of until this movie. And it got me thinking, other than your co-star, if you could pick anyone, even a celebrity, a musician, or whoever, to have a fake relationship with, who would you pick and why? I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours.
I'm going to say Fionn O'Shea, because he'll be really upset if I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. You two have a good chemistry anyway. I love the chemistry you two have in the movie. And, you also worked in television, too. So I was wondering, what are some of the differences between working in television and working in movies that most people may not realize?
I don't think there's much of a difference in sort of the day-to-day. It's just really that, film is a lot more condensed, and in TV you sort of have more episodes to explore a story arc and depth of character. But I think that, I treat them both very much the same and with the same respect. And, for an actor, there is no real difference in the way that you approach a character. All you're trying to do is serve the story and sort of do your best and bring your version of whatever it is you see on the paper.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about giving it your all. Also, I noticed with with Amber's clothing style, it seems to shy away from the stereotypical queer clothing style for a girl. So was this something you and the wardrobe designer discussed? And what was the overall goal they wanted to accomplish for your character's appearance?
Yeah, I think me and Dave had discussed the idea of this, this not being sort of like a lesbian stereotype. Sometimes you can tell, I think, in TV and film when, a gay character has had a lot of input from straight filmmakers. And so we shy away from things like a lot of plaid shirts. I think Dave put a blanket ban on plaid shirts. But I think that the costume director, Joe, he's incredible. And we sort of just had a few days trying on different things and sort of seeing what fit and, what felt best, sort of on a chemical level. And it was all very collaborative, so I was incredibly lucky. Yeah,
okay. And, we talked a lot about you and Finn. What was it like working with the rest of the cast?
It was absolutely incredible. I mean, I got to work with somebody like Sharon Horgan, who's, absolutely fantastic. She's so incredible, and I felt so lucky to be able to work with her, and, she made us laugh so much, and Barry Ward, and Simone Kirby, who played my mum. I think, like on every project, I never stopped feeling an incredible sense of awe that I get to work with such talented people.
And I know you said you're working with Finn again, but are you working with anyone else from the cast and any other future projects too?
Not at the moment, but I definitely hope to in the future. I work with everybody again.
Yeah, definitely. I hope so too. And, how do you think the movie industry will change due to this coronavirus pandemic that the world is facing? How do you think it'll change in the long term?
Very hard to tell. I think it's very hard to tell. I think that, there's definitely still a want for people. I know a lot of people keep talking about the death of cinema, but I don't know how to into that, because I know that there will always be people that want to go and see something in the cinema. And I know that a lot of stuff will move to streaming for now, but people love making films and people love independent films. So on my side, I'm incredibly hopeful.
Okay, yeah, same here. All right, well, thank you so much for your time, Lola. I really do appreciate it. And congratulations on the movie, because I actually really do enjoy it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me.
Oh, yeah. Would you like to let us know how we can see Dating Amber and where we can find you on social media?
You can see Dating Amber on video and demand from the 10th of November. And you can find me on Instagram at Lola Petticrew and Twitter.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Thank you so much again, and stay safe out there.
Thank you so much. You too, Carl. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Well, look at you, you little movie lover. You made it all the way to the end of this podcast episode, which means you love us just as much as we love you. We would also really love if you could head over to Cinephellas.com and the Cinephellas on YouTube, because over there we always have a lot of cool stuff coming your way, such as movie reviews, videos, news, more podcast episodes like this one, and a lot more. So, if you haven't already, subscribe and join the Cinephellas family. Also, make sure you stay updated with us and follow Cinephellas on social media, such as Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We at Cinephellas really do appreciate all your support. But Lola seems very nice, and I'm glad I got to take a look at this movie. So, which celebrity would you have a fake relationship with? And what do you think of the movie Dating Amber? Feel free to let me know. You look like someone who could fake a relationship with Scarlett Johansson, and I'm even getting some Idris Elba vibes from you. Well, it's time for me to head on out of here and see what's trending on Netflix. I heard that movie Knock Knock is trending. You know, the one with Keanu Reeves. I don't know about you, but I feel like that movie is absolutely terrible. Since it's trending again, maybe they can change the tagline for the movie to "There's some hoes in this house." Until next time, I'm Nile Fortner of the Cinephellas Podcast. And remember, O'Doyle rules, and I hope you have a good rest of the day and a good night.
Why so serious?
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Go ahead. Make my day.
E.T. phone home.
There's no place like home.
Hasta la vista, baby.